Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the March meeting of the Oak Hills Park Authority on March 20th, 2025 at 7 p.m. Welcome, everybody. The second item on the agenda is the roll call. As I call your name, if you would just please indicate your presence. I am Alan Dutton, I am chairman, and I am here. And we have Denise Brown.
Here.
Gary Leeds.
Here.
Jeff Schweitzer.
Here.
Rich Dellinger.
Here.
Robert Stowers.
Muted.
Robert, I see you're muted and I see your video.
I'm here.
Thank you, Robert. We do at this moment in time have a quorum. I think Mary will be joining us a little later. Third item of the agenda is acceptance of the minutes. So could I please have someone make a motion to move for the approval of the minutes?
So moved.
Gary Leeds, a seconder, please.
Second.
Can someone
Second.
second that? Denise, thank you. Any discussions, any errors or omissions that we see? I did notice one thing on the first page where it's under the beginning where it said attendance, staff, and others. Under others, it had Mary Burrell, Nature Advisory. We can take that out because Mary Burrell is in attendance as an authority member. So that was one change I saw. Did any other members see any other errors or omissions of the minutes?
That's the only thing I saw as well.
Okay. Based upon these changes and the amendments, all those in favor, would you please say aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions?
I'll abstain because I wasn't there.
Okay, the minutes are approved. Item number 4 is public participation. Jim, are there any attendees in the waiting room?
There are not.
Public participation is now over, finished. Thank you. Item number 5, reports. I guess I get to go first. We will be having an executive session during this meeting. Those of you that have not done this before, Jeff and Mary, I think you would text 2 or email 2 links, one for the regular meeting and one for the executive meeting. When we get to it, we will then go into executive meeting. So just go out to the regular meeting and hit the link for the email for the executive meeting. Then we will go into the executive meeting. When we're finished, we'll go back into the regular meeting, just hit the email for the regular meeting, and then we will actually close the regular meeting. So that's how.
Alan, under what name was the executive committee sent? I didn't see it.
It says executive session. It's on.
I got it from
the new
Esther
business.
Murillo.
Yeah,
Esther
Murillo.
Yeah, I've got it running parallel on a different computer.
Sorry, Esther Perillo. Yes. Did you get it, Gary?
I'm looking for it. I didn't see it. Go ahead with the meeting. I'll look for it while you.
Okay. Just last meeting, to continue with my report, last meeting we spoke about a benefits update. Kind of bad news, good news. Bad news, unfortunately, we were not able to get into the Connecticut Partnership Fund. They would not let us in. Basically, they did not believe that we were part of the city of Norwalk, and we were separate from them. So they did not allow us to do that. However, we are currently working with the city of Norwalk to with them, and we're in ongoing negotiations to see if anything can be done with them. And we are optimistic on this front. So when I hear more, I will let you know. We will obviously have health coverage for our employees. We will go with a company, but we are optimistic we can maybe join Norwalk. We'll have to wait and see. Mark is going to be working on budgets along with our help. And this will be our focus during the next couple of months. Just a really quick overview. When we do our budgets, you know, we do pay them in the city of Norwalk about between $130,000, $140,000, $150,000 for our debts and for our percentage of $2.15 for every round. We pay for our commercial debt, and we pay to lease our carts, and we pay for any new equipment that Jim buys. That comes to about $130,000, and then we have capital improvements. So all this comes out of the excess money that we make during the year. So we do need to take that into account. And as I said at the last meeting, if there are any authority members thinking about where we need to spend our capital next year, please let Mark know.
There's no more room left. Sorry. I'll explain later. We had a meeting. We had a good meeting yesterday, and between bunkers and cart path repairs, we'll talk about it. But it may be a big year of spending.
We shall see.
Yeah,
we shall see. And that is my report of the chair. Does anybody have any questions about anything I've said at this time? Okay. Let me take a look. Yes, John is here. So the next area under reports is the restaurant. John Lloyd. John, I see you there. Do you want to unmute and video, perhaps?
Here we go.
Hey, John. Do you want to unmute, John?
Okay. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, John.
Hey, John.
I'm going to keep this fairly short and sweet. I guess we can all see winter is over. Hooray. And beginning to see some green shoots come up. And as the golf course slowly begins to open, we are beginning to fulfill our primary purpose in serving food and drink to the golfers as they come in. And we are going to have a phase opening in terms of introducing the other services of the halfway house and the concession carts, etc. We're just going to have to play it by ear as the weather gets warmer, and I'm sure we're going to have a couple of false starts we normally do before spring really sets in. But we are very much looking forward to the 2025 season. I'm afraid that's it. I have no more news to reveal. Happy to take any questions.
Thank you. Any questions for John?
Hi, John.
Hey, Denise.
Hey, just wondering, how are the weekends going with the music venue and the advertising?
Yes, we have. We've successfully had a good winter season of live music every Saturday, and occasionally a jazz quintet playing on Sundays. And to be fair, it's been a bit of a mixed bag. Certainly the local bands that have a local draw are massively popular, and show to be a very good investment on our part. We've got Tangled Vine coming on Saturday, and we expect it to be an incredibly busy house. So yes, it's certainly an interesting part of the business, live events. But I think by and large we're coming through with some good reviews and lots of repeat business. So I think certainly the local community are very happy to see some life come into the restaurant space, and for there to be a recurring and consistent output of food, drink, and entertainment opportunities.
John, are you gonna keep those bands coming for the spring, or what's the future hold for that?
That is certainly the aspiration, Rich. Where we can, I think we have Marshall is in charge of the music, but our calendar is fully booked every Saturday through May and into June. And we have some key dates during the summer. July 4th, for example, we've got Green Eyed Lady playing on the deck. So we're hoping to keep up the energy and keep pushing through the year.
Thank you.
Great.
Any further questions for John? John, thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone.
So next item, Mary, I see you're here. Thank you very much. Nature Advisory, Mary Belver. Mary, I think you're on mute.
Yep. Okay. Here I am in the weeds.
Ah! Nice one, Mary. Nice one.
Yeah. Happy spring. We've been busy. We had our first cleanup a couple weeks ago, and we're gonna have our next path rejuvenation on. I sent out an email and I sent the wrong date. It's Tuesday, March 25th. At 9:30. We're going to and we would like to invite the golfers and the tennis people and everybody and anybody who can come. It's actually a lot of fun, especially right now, and the paths are they're getting there, but there's more work to be done on that end. As I said, the last meeting, we did have Tulip Tree Design Mike Mushak come and remediate that very dangerous area there by the dumpster there. So we're waiting for the green growth to come in and sort of do that. We've got 2 new bluebird boxes that Bill Wren and I put up a couple days ago. We put one in the Great Lawn area, and we put the other one over by the tennis area. There's kind of an open area by the tennis, and so we thought that might be a nice placement. We did clean out the old boxes that were there, and all of them had nests in them. Not all of them bluebirds, but they were all occupied. So
Mary, what makes a bluebird nest? What makes the birdhouse different from a regular birdhouse?
It's a different configuration and the opening is different. What I did was I work with Stefan Martin from Audubon, and he actually sent me the plans for the Audubon bird boxes, and they're specifically designed for bluebirds, which is our native bird. We did have a swallow nest and we did have a sparrow nest in some of them, but if we build enough bluebird boxes, they will come.
They're beautiful.
That was very exciting. The one in the Great Lawn area needs a little cement around it. We couldn't quite get that in, get it real stable, so we need to work on that. As I said, we had a good outing. We're gonna have another one Tuesday at 9:30. We're waiting on the alternative lawn to, maybe with this rain it'll start to come up and we'll see what we have there. I still want to go to the tennis area. Tara McGoldrick was going to take me over there and see what we can think of in terms of some bushes that might be conducive to that area. So I still want to do that. We want to remediate the path over by the fountain garden. The signage that says nature trails kind of goes through a very difficult area. And so we kind of want to relook at that and simplify that and make it a little more user-friendly. We're working on the signage and what else? Oh, I wrote up the long-range plan. Gary, did you get that?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. So that's kind of our thoughts so far. I mean, it's to be continued. What else do we have? Oh, I have the scouts coming. If anybody knows any community groups, we would love to host. These are the Little Scouts. These are like the Cub Scouts. They're coming on May 3rd to do some path remediation, and I think it'll be great fun. But we're looking for any and all kinds of community groups or corporate groups or anything like that to come and lend a hand. starting to talk about the, I know we have to work on updates for the website. So we'll start to work on that also. I can't think of anything else. Oh, the fountain garden, I still got the Norwalk Garden Club, and I actually have a lot of plants that I'm growing in the greenhouse at Fodor Farm that we can utilize around the golf course, or we can utilize it, you know, in the nature area or the tennis area. So I'm growing thousands of plants there. So in a couple months we can put them in around and kind of make things look kind of pretty. It's about all we are joining the Earth Day. We're working with the city, and we're gonna join the city at their table to have a table at the Earth Day event, which will be very exciting. And what else? That's about it. I just came from the Master Tree Plan workshop, and Bob, that was great. It was really quite wonderful. I appreciate your doing that, and it was a lot of fun learning about the tree canopy in Norwalk and planting trees, which is always fun. I think that's about it. I think it's about all I have. I can't say anything else.
That's great. Um,
The Bluebird boxes were donated, and that's about it. Oh, we're working on some grants. We put a grant in. We're waiting to hear. And Rich found another grant that isn't out yet, but we might. So we're kind of keeping our eyes open for any kind of grant money that we can get also.
That's great, man. I'm glad that you're able to work out the Earth Day table, you know, with the city. That's great. Thank you. Anybody, any questions for Mary?
Mary, when is the Earth Day celebration? What's the date? Do you have it?
April 26th. I think it's from 11 till 3.
Thank you.
Mary,
Yes.
how do you feel about attracting hummingbirds? Is that something that this area, I mean, I read that they're really so beautiful, and I know that it's a different type of feeding and everything for them, but do you have any thoughts on that?
That would be lovely. We have one hummingbird in the Northeast. It's the ruby-throated one. And it's coming around right about now. It's starting to come through. And yeah, you have to put out the feeders with the nectar in them. And then you put certain flowers around so that will attract them. But yeah, certainly that would be a lovely thing to do. You know, either around the tennis area or around the fountain garden, or even the Great Lawn. I mean, I could see, you know, if we have the right flowers and the nectar, we need the other thing is you have to clean it. You have to keep it very, very clean, because if it, you know, develops mold or mildew, you could actually do more harm than good. So you have to be you have to have a very clean area for them, and you have to change it very frequently.
Mary, I wouldn't do that. I think that's intensive.
It is a little
No,
intense, yeah.
I think we ought to look at flowers more. I have the
Yeah.
cardinal flower and the black sage and, you know, some of those things, and I get plenty of hummingbirds in my yard.
Yeah, we
And
don't necessarily
I
need the
did
nectar.
have
You're right. Yeah.
I did have some of those feeders, and boy, they were a lot of work.
Yeah.
And so I started looking more for the flowers. So
Yeah.
I would go for that, and they come right up to my the window where I eat my meals. I mean, they're unbelievable. Yeah.
Yeah. They could be
So,
very aggressive, but yeah, I think you're right. It is nice to have, but if we have the right flowers, they'll come also.
right.
Okay, Mary, I'd like to thank you for all the hard work you're putting in. It's a pleasure to be able to listen to your reports to see what progress is being made in this area. So thank you and your committee very much for what you're doing. It's much.
Well, you're welcome.
Number D item is tennis. Denise.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. I'll go along with you, Mary. Happy spring. You know, it's so nice to know that it's right around the corner and things will start to change. So for tennis, we got some information. They plan to open the courts by May 12th, which would be the summer season for when Kings Highway starts their programming. It would be nice if we could nudge them into opening them a little bit earlier, but you you know, they never wind up doing that. But anyway, you know, they will be open by May 12th. Did I say March? I meant May 12th. The fencing around courts 1 and 6 has been completed, so it looks good to me. I don't know if Rich or Jim, if you have walked it and taken a look at it. So, you know, it looks straight and strong and sturdy. The gates look good. I would like to get a hold of some of the spray paint for touch-ups because there's already areas that could use touch-ups or maybe that they had just slightly missed when they were spraying. So that would be something good to have on hand as time goes on. I don't know if it's any slightly low gloss paint or if it's a specific black that they used. Would be nice to know. There's a couple of issues with the Hartrue Court with the machine digging it up. And there is one area on Court 1 where there's a sunken area. And I'm not sure, but I think that their machine went over the sprinkler in that one area. Jim, did you see that? The sunken area on Court 1 that runs along where the fence is? It's kind of like right in the middle.
Yes, I am aware of that, Denise.
Okay, so you'll be discussing that, I guess, with Bill or?
I certainly will.
Yes, thank you. Okay. So tomorrow, the Friends of Tennis are going to meet at Grassroots with David Kamani. We'll continue to talk about hosting the tournament in late September for the Arthur Goldblatt. And, Gary, I apologize. I did get your email. Our first meeting, we kind of just came up with different ideas. On our second meeting, we pretty much didn't talk except for our guest speaker. And so our third meeting is next Saturday. So after that, I'll have a better update for you and I will email it to you. For strengths and weaknesses and pros and cons and what we are thinking of doing.
Yeah, I think it's important to look at your short and long-term items. That's the biggest problem when you go into a long-term plan. There's so many short-term items that are on your mind. So it's important to separate those two things. And then I know you're thinking about the lease and everything.
Yes, thank you. Anybody have any questions?
Thank you, Denise. Just like to, for the minutes, Mary Verrill did join, I believe about 7:10. If that could be added to the minutes, that would be great. Thank you. Next item, item E, supporters of Oak Hills, Jerry Crowley. Jerry, I think you're on mute.
Not anymore. Hi, everybody. I have no report tonight.
No report? It's always a pleasure to see you, Jerry. Any questions for Jerry?
Thanks.
Next item is item F, long-term planning. Gary Leeds.
Hi, everyone. Well, as you can hear, we are making some progress. Alan, did you hear from TJ? I did not.
I did hear something from him, yes. I didn't get anything a lot, but let's talk about it in the executive session, okay?
Okay. All right, so we're starting to move along. You can hear, I asked people to, continue to work on their mission and their strengths and weaknesses or their SWOTs, and really look at what they want to accomplish short-term and long-term, because I think the short-term are very important to deal with in our budget process. I'm sure Mark has lots of money for all those short-term objectives.
Sure.
Mary did send me a note, which was very nice. She's got a lot of short-term objectives, as you heard from her, but she's starting to look at additional information, additional stuff to look for long-term and working with the city on various items. I'm looking for her note here. Hold on, here it is. But to work on good public communication, perhaps monthly walks, a lunch and learn, type of stuff. And then obviously coordinate with the city as I said. So I think as we move forward, we can start to figure out how that all works with a good long-range plan. We'll talk more about the biggest part being the golf part of it in the executive session, some of those things. I do need to get with Jim and I think Robert to figure out how we approach the community and see how we're the community supports us well. Some of that is nature. I think that with what Mary's doing but how really we communicate with the community and make them happy. So that work will begin to go. So that's all I have for now.
Any questions for Gary? Thank you, Gary. Next item is item G, which is our golf professional report, which we did receive. Thank you, Paul. Paul is now back with us. So Paul, take it away.
All right, thanks, Alan. So March is here and the golf season has started. The course opened Monday, the 10th, temporary tee boxes and greens. On Saturday, the 15th, the greens and the tee boxes were opened. Yesterday, carts became available to our golfers. Last Saturday was opening day. We had 179 golfers. So our golf course looks really good. It's nice and clean, and the greens look healthy, and they look great. Presently, our golf shop hours are 7:30 to 4 p.m. The golf course is open 8 to 4. Next week, the course will be open 8 to 5. We presently have 7 people on the golf staff and 11 on the outside golf staff. That will grow as the weather gets better as far as outside services. 46 annual passes have been sold since January 1. I think that's great. Last year at this point, we had 43, and considering there's really been some bad weather and we did limit booking to 8 days, I think that's really a good number. We also sold a little over 290 memberships. Last year at this time, we only had 232 sold. So I think, doing very well, and there's a lot of people eager to play a little golf this year. And considering the weather wasn't good all winter, just passes sold. We also have 24 golf outings. There's only 2 open dates for the remainder of the year. I think that's just a great number. I'm not sure Oak Hills has ever had that many. And it kind of shows the strength of the golf industry right now when we just have so many outings and so many people wanting to play golf. But our carts are in their 5th year and they're looking really good, ready to go for the season. Our warm-up nets are up for the golfers. Our 4UP software tee sheet and the POS system are working really well and seem to be much easier for some of our golfers booking tee times. Our golf shop staff has trained most all winter, as well as our starters, on the software, and they're fairly comfortable with using the tee sheet now and the software. And I think as golfers come and check in, we see more people, everyone's going to get a little more familiar with it. Steve Shepard has been incredibly helpful with the installation, the training of our staff, and assisting our membership with our new tee sheet. Across the country, golf numbers are great, especially in the warmer climates. I mean, golf is just jamming. So I think for all categories, everything looks really strong. And I think we're looking forward to a really good year and a great spring coming up. That's it.
Any questions for Paul?
Yeah, I got 2. Paul, on our outings, are all of our outings required to use the restaurant?
Yeah, they're pretty much required use the restaurant.
So Gary, what that means is that all the people in the past for the outings, some of them did bring their own, especially the restaurant ones, and Blind Rhino and O'Neill's will bring their own stuff. We have put a stop to that. Nobody can bring anything into the course, and the contracts they sign reflect that, and that will not be happening. So that's one of the main things, and we do want them to use the restaurant. Whether we can force them to have something, they certainly can't bring anything, and I'm sure they will avail themselves of what we have at the course.
I just wondered you know, we had sort of a package that we at least show them that we have, like, you know, here's what you can do for breakfast, and here's what you
Oh
can do
yeah,
for
yeah.
lunch,
We've
and here's what.
O'Dean's has breakfast, lunch, dinner packages, cocktail packages, you know, golf cart beverages. They do have that certainly, and everyone meets with Barbara. You know, contacts her. She contacts them, who's their catering person.
And then the other question I have are any of those outings, do they run all day, or are we thinking of running shotguns either for the afternoon or the morning before the outing? Are we going to do anything like that this year?
Well, what we did last year was every chance we get to open the golf course to the public, we do it. It's a lot easier to open the golf course after the outings. In the morning, it's a little harder. You know, the golf course, Jim sets it up so nice for them. Could get a little beat up, but we also have a problem sometimes with carts. So we don't really do that. Sometimes we open up to walkers only, maybe in the morning. We do have to line up all the carts, but every chance we get, we will definitely keep that golf course open for golfers.
Are you thinking of doing shotguns at least? Because just to say the golf course is open, there are only so many, if we don't do a shotgun, only so many groups can get out?
No, all our outings are shotguns. We don't do any outings that are not a shotgun.
No, I mean, when you open up the golf course for individuals, are we thinking of doing shotguns so we can fill the course?
No, we just do tee times. It's really too hard to get all those carts going and line them up. And I mean, the only way we could ever do that is in the middle of the summer, and it has to be a 9 or 10 o'clock outing, and then they play in 5 hours. It doesn't leave us a lot of time.
But sometimes we don't have any outings starting at noon or starting early in the morning. Everything's sort of midday.
No, there's a couple of 9, 9:15, 10. A lot majority are 10 and 12 and 1. So at those times, it's just hard to do a double shotgun. And think about Oak Hills. We wanted to do it with an outing. We've had a couple outings ask us, maybe we could do a double shotgun. We barely have the parking for that. And we were thinking about doing double shotguns, but I'm not sure we could accommodate all those cars.
So we don't have the parking.
But you know,
I think that's a good point, Paul.
Yeah,
that's a really good point that we don't have the parking.
I'd love to do a double shotgun. I think though Mondays, you know, a lot of people assume they just assume not play golf. So we typically accommodate a lot of people on a Monday whenever we can. And I don't think we'd ever fill a double shotgun on a Monday.
Yeah, I think your point about parking is probably the key.
I asked one outing I'd be glad to think about it. We'll start early and we'll get those carts back in line. But you know, maybe you guys could bring a bus up here, or everybody ride with somebody else.
No, we're never going to do that. So, yeah, gotcha.
I think it's going to be good. We're going to have a great year with outings, and you know, considering we did make some changes with a little bit of food and beverage and alcohol, we lost one outing, and that's okay.
It's okay. All right, thanks.
Any further questions for Paul? Thank you, Paul. So Jim, I'm glad you made it. Okay, hopefully the party went well. So number 8, Superintendent Jim Shell. Take it away, Jim.
Okay, folks, sorry about that. All's well with the course coming out of the winter. There's very little damage, just a couple fairway spots, and they will fill in right quick as soon as the grass starts to grow at its regular rate in the spring flush. It'll be filled in no time. I have had the tree company in to do some removals on spots too risky for me to do a simple takedown. We've had the stumps flushed, and we're looking to fill them up and with soil and seed them ASAP. We are just about out of drought conditions according to the U.S. Drought Monitor, which is good news. I thought that this week of weather might bring us completely out, but it looks like they have lowered the forecast for tonight, so it might not have a big effect on their evaluation of how droughty we are, even though we have water bleeding out of hillsides. The drain in the parking lot is repaired. We should not see any more lakes in the middle of the parking lot or on 18 Green any longer. If we do, then I blamed the wrong problem. But I think we're good to go because we've had some heavy rains that had no ill effect. No puddling, no nothing.
Yeah.
And our staffing, we've filled our full-time jobs. We will need 3 more seasonal positions filled. I think one of those might be filled, and hopefully the other 2 will come without much trouble, because it's just about time to call everybody back and get to work with a full crew. That's my report.
Okay, I'm glad to hear that we were able to replace the superintendent, the senior foreman, and the mechanic. So good job. I know it's pretty frustrating for you, but we got through it. So thank you.
Thanks to Jim too, because he gave me a tip on filling the mechanic's position, and this guy is a whiz. I think maybe I'm speaking too soon, but I don't think so. He's really he's a small engine master, and he's been doing things that I didn't know that he needed to do. So that's going to be good. That'll increase the longevity of the equipment and whatnot.
Hey, any questions for Jim?
Yeah, Jim, how long do you, when do you bring on your seasonals? Do you bring them all at once? And when do you let them go? Or do you stagger them? Or how do you?
Well, it is kind of staggered. Like I called one guy back early that this started.
Okay.
There are going to be 2 more starting on Monday, 3 more starting on Monday.
Okay.
1 part-time guy starting on Saturday this weekend. And then there's going to be another part-time guy starting probably the first week of April. He used to work for Recreation and Parks.
Okay.
And he has been with me for a few years. It's kind of his semi-retirement job. He's, you know.
When do you let them go?
Excuse me.
What part of the year do you release them? Do you lay them off?
First week of December.
Okay.
If they last that long.
Okay. If they last that long. Okay.
Okay. Any further questions for Jim?
Jim, I'm just curious, any timeline in putting those trees in between the 11th green and the tennis courts?
Is that a go ahead? I wasn't sure if that was a confirmation of go ahead and plant
them. I'll talk to you later.
Okay. Sure. Stop by tomorrow, whatever.
Okay.
Any further questions for Jim? Thank you, Jim. Controller, number I, Mark, take it away.
Hello. I'll start off by saying that today is my 8-year anniversary at Oak Hill. Yeah. March 20th, 2017, my first day. So getting to my report, not much. I'm just going to touch on a few items. February, as you can read, it was not a good month. We were closed the entire month, so we actually had $0 in greens fees. But we also had lower expenses, so we did a good job we still beat budget on our net income line, so that's pretty good. And memberships dropped because nobody was coming to the course. We were closed. But I can say that March month to date, we're only a little bit behind budget for the entire month, so we should beat budget on memberships, and we'll likely hit budget on the other items. But it's too hard to tell. I mean, we just had 1 day of carts, and we just opened up very recently. But as Paul mentioned, on this past Saturday, the 15th. We had over $7,000 of green fees. That was very impressive for this time of year. I'll say that, with limited daylight and everything, and people really came out of the woodwork and came golfing. So that's really it. This weekend, Saturday's tee sheet looks packed. So we should have another $7,000 day on Saturday. So good stuff. I only had to transfer over $20,000 from our Bankwell investment cash account to cover, and I probably didn't need to, but I didn't want to. It was getting down. It was under $10,000 if I didn't do that. So that's just 1 check away from being overdraft. So you never get that low.
So one thing that we're finding at the moment is on the utility side, where our electric costs have gone up quite substantially. And I don't know, those of us that are homeowners with Eversource have also found that, because there's this community relations piece, I think, that has been kicked in over the last 6 or 7 months. And this is something I think that Eversource wasn't able to get an increase during COVID, so they've been given this 10-month window, which ends in April, to recover some of the money of the increases they couldn't get. So utility costs have gone up quite dramatically. I think we have 2 more months of it, Mark. I think during your research you found that.
Yeah,
So-
it's a good point, Alan. It'll be through the end of basically through the end of April. So May they'll start dropping down again. And yeah, it's an FMCC, which is federally mandated congestion charge. And as you said, yeah, they had been kind of eating these expenses for the last few years, and they were given this 10-month window. So they really raised them up quite a bit to recoup their money, and then they'll drop it 50%, a little bit more than that. And then yeah, we also talked to Eversource and changed out the supplier from Eligo to Eversource for the supply of electricity, and that should get us smaller savings, but continuous. So you know, $50 here, $50 there, and then when these FMCC charges drop, we will see a noticeable drop in overall utilities.
I think from a big financial picture, the last 3 months, December, January, February, from a revenue side have been pretty awful. In that there's been very, very little, which was different from what we had last year. Those 3 months, we did get more revenue. So we should think about that when we budget. And I think it kind of reiterates in a way about the annual passes does bring in a nice chunk of change during the January, February period. When you know there's no revenue coming in, at least we're getting some of that type of revenue, which does help us from the cash flow point of view. So I just mentioned that as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. And when it comes to budgeting, the problem is, you know, you can't budget for weather. So there have been times I've budgeted, you know, good revenue throughout the winter, and then we have a winter like this where we're closed. Other times I budget very little, and like 2 years ago we never closed. It was, you know, we kept killing, you know, the budget.
Right.
So it's hard to predict, but we'll discuss. And yeah, as you mentioned before, just starting to get into budget season. We've already gone through the first draft of our CapEx, capital improvements, and Paul and Jim, you'll be seeing emails from me shortly with the standard, you know, your first draft of wages and different expenses, your course expenses, like always. So it should be done hopefully tomorrow. If not tomorrow, then on Monday.
Questions for Mark?
You get better with age, Mark. I mean, is the 9th year even going to be better?
I think so. And I just hit 50. So yes, I'm feeling fit at 50.
Double whammy.
A mere babe. Any further questions for Mark? Okay, last but by no means least on the reports, our General Manager, James, Mr. Holliday.
Thank you, Alan. As usual, my report is filled with minutia pertaining to repairs and things of that nature, so I'll not bore you with them. They're on the written report. I have continued to gather more information from some of the other municipal courses as to how they run their operations, and it's very interesting to see. Alan mentioned that we are optimistically looking forward to the city of Norwalk agreeing to allow us to join their health plan, which we think would be very good news. But we will be signing on with a new company because we were dropped effective March 31st. So we'll sign on with a new carrier until such time as the city approves us to join their plan. We have renewed our property and liability and workers' compensation policies. We did shop those policies, and Mark and I are very confident that the company that we have been with this is our 3rd year, Mark. It provides us really good service. The linkage to the city has been important to us. So they're quite competitive. I've been helping out a little bit with some of the new outings. Paul mentioned we've got a really full slate, and that's really exciting. We've got some exciting and really attractive new outings coming on this year. Attended a couple of long-range planning meetings with our community and staff involvement group. And I also shopped our cleaning contract, and more good news. We're treated favorably, both economically and from a service perspective. I had a couple meetings with Hearst Media, and they've given me a proposal that I'll discuss with the executive committee about opportunities to market our organization. I've also been solicited by Norwalk is a big baseball town, and there were always 2 baseball leagues, and they've consolidated into one. And they have some sponsorships available, and I think it might be an interesting opportunity for us and also for Odines. There's a lot of kids and a lot of parents. It's a big program, and it's a long season, so I will be speaking to our leadership team about that. Let's see. Oh, we did finalize revisions on the employee handbook and have distributed that to our employees. Come to find out, none of them have ever seen an employee handbook before, and some of them are asking questions. So that's helpful.
I just want to point out that everyone, when they join, gets a new hire packet, and that employee handbook is printed out and provided to them. So the ones who are saying they've never seen it before, they've seen it before. They probably just dumped it.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Well,
there's a document that says that they have to read and sign, says, I have read this, I understand everything.
yeah, the acknowledgement page.
Yep.
Steve and I spoke to our 4UP representative about opportunities for a mobile app, and we're excited about that opportunity. Their 4UP is actually developing one on their own, which will be extremely cost effective, but they're just beginning to offer it. So we're going to wait for a few months, 3-4 months perhaps, to see how it works out, and then we may be able to offer that as well. Working on increasing the internet speed, and perhaps installing some devices which will sort of supercharge our signal out to the golf course for Visage, and also for the rangers who will have the 4UP tablets on their vehicles. So even though it's been quiet on the golf course, I have been anything but quiet. So if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to address them.
Questions for Jim?
Jim,
Jim,
just
Report, did you paint the tennis center? Did you paint and put new flooring in?
Paint, yes. Flooring to come very soon.
Are you selected new flooring?
It's a laminate. It's a very basic wood tone, and got a couple of different prices. One was far more attractive than the other, so I'm sure everybody would be very happy to see the old carpet removed and some fresh laminate flooring laid.
Did that include the bathrooms, Jim, or just the office?
The bathrooms have been painted. There are tile floors in the bathrooms, so nothing done in the bathroom floors, but those rusty baseboard heating units have been painted, and it'll be a nice look when we open.
Good, thank you.
Thank you.
Jim,
One
just
more
a question.
Question for you, Jim. So I did speak to management at 4UP today about changing the picture. So apparently we can change the picture on the tennis page. And I told them that what I'd like to do is look into having a photograph done now that the new fence is up, because all the old pictures has our shabby old fence in it. So it'd be great to get a new picture with once the nets are set up and everything, and have a nice picture to put on that page. So we can
That's great news. Maybe we'll find someone who's got a drone, and when the nets are up, do a flyby of the whole complex.
Jim Shell, do you have a drone?
I actually think we should try to get one, do a little bit of flyover the whole golf course and put it right on the website, because there's a lot of golf courses doing that nowadays.
I'll donate a drone if you guys have a camera to put on it.
Really?
Okay.
Let's talk to Mark sometime soon.
I didn't know, I was going to see, I don't know if he is Scott Webb. Does he do photography or is he just IT?
IT.
Solely IT? Okay.
I got a 12-year-old who'd be glad to do that for us with his drone.
What'd you say?
I have a nice 12-year-old junior golfer. I'm sure he'd be glad to do that for us, but we might want to think about doing something, for the golf course as well.
Good idea.
Put it on the web.
Gary, did you have a question for Jim, I believe?
Yeah, I just want to ask a question on insurance. Do they ever come in and do an assessment and make sure we don't have any exposures liability wise,
They do. They're coming next week,
Next Friday, yeah.
Friday. Yeah,
Okay, glad to hear that.
yeah.
Yeah, they're very good.
Any further questions for our general manager? There being none, the reports area of the agenda is completed. Item number 6 on the agenda, old business. Any authority member wish to bring up any old business? Any item number 7 on the agenda, new business? Does anybody have any new business they'd like to bring to the meeting?
I have a question for Mark.
Yep.
So you made your comment about that CapEx is closed?
No. It was more of a joke. We just did our first draft. Me and the two Jims had a good discussion on what was listed previously on our CapEx budget, and what we had shown as kind of year 1, which was 2025, and then year 2, year 3, and so forth. And we talked about what we thought the priorities were, and between the second half of the bunker project and doing some car path repair, which is very expensive, numbers started climbing really fast. So we just have to be careful about our needs and our wants for next year, because otherwise this budget can blow up into easily 400,000 plus, easily.
Well, I think I'm not sure if we have to do anything at the moment. It'd be nice to have an assessment, but we probably have an irrigation problem on the courts. I mean, we've had problems, and so I don't know to what degree we have to consider.
That was discussed, actually. That was discussed, and I know Jim is going to come back with some probably some solid numbers, but that is listed on there already.
Thank you.
Sure.
Anybody else under new business? Okay, so now let us go to executive session. So we'll log out of this, and I think it's Esther Perillo or something, because the name of the
with an M,
login?
Murillo.
Murillo. Excuse
Can
me,
somebody send me that? Because I don't have it. I went through my trash and my email, so if somebody can just send me that.
I can forward that.
Thanks.
Okay. Okay, we're going to go into that now then.
All right, then. Good night from the staff.
Okay, night.
Good night, Mark.
Night, guys.
Okay, so we are now back from our executive session. There is no need to take any votes on any issues that were discussed at the executive session about the long-range plan. No votes are needed this time. So item 9 on the agenda is adjournment. I will entertain a motion to adjourn our March meeting. Do I have a proposer?
I'll make a motion.
Rich, a second.
I'll second.
Gary, second. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Thank you all very much. I will see you next month. Goodbye, everybody.
Have a good night. Thanks very much.